Who am I? I was born in 1889 in the small northeast Florida town of Crescent City, Florida. I was just 2 years old when my family moved to Jacksonville. In Jax, I experienced a dichotomous world, and I and my family lived in East Jacksonville, a thriving, predominantly African-American neighborhood, and was a star student and athlete. But outside the relative comfort of East Jacksonville, I lived in a segregated city with residents who treated African Americans with disdain at best and violence at worst. Despite my impressive academic resume, I couldn't find a meaningful job in Jacksonville. Pursuing higher education wasn't a realistic option in the South either. By the time I was 22, I left Jacksonville and moved to Harlem, seeking new opportunities. It was there I began my involvement in politics. I co-founded a magazine, The Messenger, that became highly influential among Black Americans. I twice ran unsuccessfully for public office in New York. I helped organize and lead several worker unions seeking to improve conditions for Black workers. Through my activism for Black workers, I became a predominant voice in favor of African American rights. In 1941, I successfully pressured Franklin D. Roosevelt into barring discrimination within the nation's defense industries via executive order by threatening a massive march on Washington, D.C. In the 50s, I became friends with another major civil rights era figure, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I worked with Dr. King and other leaders to plan a series of rallies in key cities. Those rallies came together as well as fellow activist Bayard Rustin, organizing the march that I myself had threatened back in 41. The 1963 March on Washington advocated for freedom and job opportunities for Black Americans. It drew over 200,000 participants to the nation's capital, featuring Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. The march was a key factor in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and among the most influential political movements in American history. By the time of my death in 1979, I had helped bring about landmark changes and reforms throughout my activism and was able to see a less divided America. Who am I?